Social media is so mentally draining sometimes. It's like always wondering what someone's doing, what someone's wearing, what someone's thinking about. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, like, don't you want to always, like, be up to date on, like, what everyone's doing?
Yeah, man, like, what's your deal? Like, that is like the status quo, duh.
Yeah, like, even I do it, and I'm, like, 3 years old.
And I'm like technically not human, but like I also have social media, so like you need to chill out, Kareem.
You're right, guys. I'm sorry. The voices in my head are always so comforting. Hello.
And welcome back. It's Travis
And it's Travis.
and Kareem
And it's Kareem.
on Best Buds with High Points. And today we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of social media and what does that really mean and why and what is it really doing to us and not doing to us in the world.
Social media. Okay, so like, what is it to you, Travis? Like, what does it mean to you?
Well, I think, we were at the beginning of it, through, the ages that we grew up in and on seeing the evolution of it where, you have your like instant messenger start up with AOL and your ICQs and, those type of MSN Messenger. And I think then we saw it evolve through our childhood. So we were in the very mix of everything.
Right.
And, I think it was like at the time we thought it was very cool and exciting and like, oh, it's something exclusive, like when Facebook came out and it was just for, college students and things like that. Like I was at the beginning of that where Facebook was college students only. You had to have a college.edu email address to get to it, and kind of seeing it transform. So, I think at the beginning I thought it was cool, but these days for myself, I don't necessarily like it. I just think it's just trash.
All right. Well, I think, based off me knowing you, I feel like you're not as social media, like, you're not like deep in it. You're not deep in it. You're kind of like someone who's like, I have it because I have it and whatever, just to keep up with some people,
Yeah,
but you're not like stuck on it. You're not glued to it.
Yeah, I don't really care. It's like I have an Instagram. That's the only thing I really have from social media for the most part. It's like I don't have Facebook.
You're telling me you don't have an AOL username?
I do. It's in the blue 06 if it's still active. I think that's what it is.
Mine was like Phoenix K44, but it was spelled wrong. Was PHE.
Of course, you would be that person that spells things funny and you put like, oh, cool.
Deepsies.
Cool. No, STR8 straight.
I never did that though, because I had a hard time being that. So I didn't want to fake it even in my writing. Anyway, so okay. What does social media mean to me? Social media means to me taking your communication through technology, right? It's like you're able to communicate with someone in the flesh in front of you, right? But now, how do you do that at more convenient times? Because you can't always be next to someone all the time. And obviously, cell phones were like kind of developing and becoming something past the landline. So I feel like it was just a natural development of now even taking the beeper, right? And taking other forms of communication and now minimalizing it to like more convenience on one device, right? And then that one device develops into having like,
well, I think it's
apps.
also harder, it kind of brought us closer at the beginning, I think, with communication and things like that, because at times, in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, when things were developing, it's kind of like it was harder to, as a kid or as a young adult, to, find a means of transportation to go hang out with your friends. So it kind of brought people together initially, I think, and it was a good thing at the time. From my perspective.
Yeah, I think that's like, essentially, you're just taking the convenience of not seeing someone as often and being able to, relay small messages. And, I think text messaging is kind of like the beginning of social media to me, because once we were able to start text messaging and having the freedom to like really have, convenient exchanges of communication while being able to just get on with our days, I think that was really healthy. and time saving and stuff like that, because not everyone likes to be on the phone for hours. Like I know I'm one of those people that I don't like to be on the phone forever, but I'd rather a phone call than.
What are you talking about? We talk on the phone all the time.
No, but I'd
for
rather.
hours.
I'm saying I'd rather. No, not hours. Like an hour at a given time, sure.
That's true. Not like 6 hours.
No, like, but that's how it used to be back in the days. Like, you would just sit in your house and like be on the phone with someone for hours.
And remember, you always got yelled at by your parents. Get off the phone. I need to call someone.
Exactly.
Or
Exactly.
get off the phone. I have to use the internet because dial-up was still going on. Those type of things. That was a fun time.
So I think, but that's why I'm kind of like, I think that there was a good intent by, the whole development. It was only natural that we were going to make things even more convenient. So now,
sure.
How do we make it more convenient, right? We want people now want to see what we're doing at every given moment. So if people get to see what we're doing at every given moment, what how are we going to do that? By creating social media, which is, obviously what has become Facebook or MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and this thing called Be Real. Like, there's all these different platforms to kind of connect with people and show not only like what you're up to, but like who you are, or you can play. Either you can show your authentic self, which is, in my opinion, kind of rare on social media, or you can really.
Well, I think now it's rare. I think it started out as kind of authentic, as in, oh, look at me. There's no, filters, or I think at the beginning it started maybe authentic.
There was a very like gritty. There was a grittiness to it because
it was innocent.
It was innocent.
At the time.
It was just
it's like
silly. Look at everyone's old pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you remember the phase of where all of a sudden it's like we were doing that little Foursquare. What was that thing where we like checked into places? It was on Facebook.
Oh, I don't really know.
I think it was a college thing. Like it was like, I think it was called like Foursquare or something. And it's like places you checked in and you earned badges for something.
Oh yeah, I never did anything like that. I think I kind of know what you're talking about. I was always like, all right, listen, like I don't really need everyone to know where I'm at all times. Like that's not
Probably because you were doing something stupid.
No, I also just wasn't interested in like letting people know all my business at all times. Like when I shared things on social media at the time, it was like my 15th like caramel frappuccino. Okay, like it literally, I don't know why I was so perplexed to like be like, wow, this looks gorgeous, and like people are gonna love it and care about it. Like, oh my god, like it was stupid. It was like this, like you said before, innocence to it. And my entire early pictures were like me making silly faces and doing stupid things and funny signs and going to museums. And now it's like you post a picture that you really like, it may just be posted into the abyss and no one's going to see it or care about it. So then you kind of feel like your picture's lost value, but that's just because of the way social media has turned into this like algorithm constant brands being thrown in your face, catered to you or whatever you've talked about into your phone. And it's almost become bigger than you. Like,
yeah,
the image you've created on social media has become bigger than yourself.
It's become, just another person you have to please in the grand scheme of things. Like you have to play, or, I lost my thought.
I mean, I think, like I said, whenever I post on social media, I almost feel like this pressure, like this anxiety. Whenever I post, I'm always like, oh my God, like, is it even worth posting? Like, I don't think I'm that interesting. I don't think there's that much to even, like, people are not going to care about me going, like, hiking on a mountain, or people are not going to care that, I just got a new tattoo or whatever, because I feel like I'm not socially influencing anyone on a grand scale. Like, I would love to have that following and to be able to, like, actually make a change and do something cool that's different. But instead, I feel like, again, this is not everyone. This is just my experience, because there's a lot of amazing influencers out there that really use our platform for some phenomenal, amazing creative things. I mean, like that beekeeper lady was like awesome that I saw that, and I was like fascinated by what she does. There are people that talk about like architecture and, just really cool technologies and stuff like that. So I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, because of my, growing up to social media as to what it was,
to what it is now is different.
It's just so
extremely different.
Yeah, that it's almost hard to kind of like adapt, because I feel like I'm killing off a little bit of myself. Like I'm killing off more the person Kareem and becoming a little bit more of a brand.
Yeah, it's become, almost like very overwhelming, of like having to stay up to date with the, because, it's
Like, is your person interesting? Is that's what is like what it's kind of asking is like, is your person interesting?
Yeah, it's like I remember back in the day when Facebook is like, well, how many friends do you have, you know, and how many followers, and like that was big then, and it's even bigger now. It's like people talk about it all the time.
I still don't even care how
Like
many
it's-
friends I have on
like it's
on
some
Facebook.
type of like status for them. But yeah, but some do, and some look at it as like
Instagram
a
was
very
the only app
status.
that I feel like made it real. Instagram made it real that like people cared about what your followers amounts are or like how many likes you get. And now you can have a feature to disable your likes. And of course, some people, you know, will see that disabling of the likes is like your insecurity because you don't want people to see how little you get. And it's like, it's still yet again like people's validation for another person's importance. Like if you don't have that many likes or followers, or if you're following more people that you have following you, or what is the ratio of your followers to you following, it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost kind of like we rate people on their attraction level or if they're socially, you know, cool or not based off that. And it's just so cringe because it's like you're telling another human being that's maybe not as motivated to get as many followers as you, so therefore you value them less, when in reality like they're just probably enjoying their life a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly how I see it. Like I feel like the people that, this is my perspective, and I'm not saying this for like really good influencers that actually do great things. I'm saying that it's really hard for me to kind of look at someone who has more followers and likes on these things that are like a model and all these great things. I have to ask myself like, okay, like, are they validated? Do they validate themselves by pursuing that so tirelessly? Because to be up to date on social media and constantly keep people's interest is really hard. So I feel like they're almost not enjoying life as much because they don't know that balance. Maybe there's not a balance or moderation, but who knows? That's just my perspective. It doesn't mean that
You
they're
don't
not
really know
enjoying
where
their
they're coming
lives.
from
It just
and what
means-
they do enjoy and don't enjoy.
Oh, you know what? My question is, are they as present as they possibly could be? If you're constantly posting, you're constantly chasing
I think that's
for
one thing that
followers and likes.
we can't necessarily judge because we don't know that individual unless we do know them personally, and then we can say are they present or not. But my guess is they're probably not.
Yeah.
You know, if they're always glued to their phone, you know, documenting every little picture, video, task, you know, like, you know, the mothers that are just trying to really just take every single picture of their child, or the fathers of the same thing. It's like, are they really giving the kid attention?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
But I think that's a good cutoff for our next segment. We'll dive into that in just a moment.
We'll be back soon. And welcome back.
Hey. So, Travis, tell me a little bit more about your overall experience with social media and discuss some pros and cons of it.
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, it kind of, you know, started in the, you know, the early days of the pioneer days of social media. And I had Facebook for a while, and then I basically stopped having Facebook in, you know, the year 2016. So it's been almost however long that is, 6 years, 8 years almost, or 7 years. You know, it for myself, it got too political and too diversive, you know, and the diversity is not the problem on, you know, like politics and those type of things. It was more of, you know, what came from it. No one could have like a conversation or stating an opinion or anything without the opposite side, you know, firing back and attacking you on, you know, what you believe and don't believe in. And, you know, the different beliefs is fine. That's not, you know, the topic of, you know, this podcast, but it got too toxic. You know, it basically, to sum it up. So I dropped Facebook. So the only social media outlet I have is more from an Instagram standpoint. And I only liked it, and my justification from it is I like seeing people's pictures. I like, you know, looking at what they're doing, where they're at, you know, just kind of being somewhat involved in their lives, especially with my close friends that live all over, you know, the world in the United States. That you kind of felt closer to them. It gave you an avenue on when you did make that FaceTime call that you say, oh, so you went diving the other day and you found, you know, a bunch of, you know, glass or shark teeth or something, but you can relate on more of a conversation. So that's more of my experience. There's nothing really been too negative per se for myself. But just looking at others with it, I don't think it's the best tool out there. I think it's a great tool for communications for, you know, when you live afar from loved ones and friends and family and things like that. It makes it easier to keep up with them, like I was mentioning from my experience. But I do think it's pulling people away from each other day by day. kids are addicted to it in my mind. I think they're building like their confidence levels on it based on their presence and not presence. They're posting and not posting.
Well, that's all they know.
It's what they grew up with. It's not like ourselves that had, the mix between nothing and the beginning of it, and even our parents that had nothing, and then like the generation after us is kind of, they begun it, and now today's children is the generation that had it all their lives. So it's kind of like it's all they know. And then it's like I sit there and I watch parents, they throw their phone in their kid's face, just to, make them shut up and entertain them for a little bit at restaurants. And I question that, as in that kid's just going to know that a screen should be in their face. And that's probably, but that's also the world we live on, and everything that we do and don't do, from our jobs is on a screen. It's like for myself, I develop software and I'm on a computer screen all day long. So it's but there has to be a line drawn between of just, entertaining yourself and getting self-confidence from it and self-worth versus, actual using it from a productive tool.
So what would you say your overall pros and cons are?
The pros, I think it's technology. Technology advances us as a society. I believe that, truly on, look at the communications and look at, the technology not come around, look at this podcast that we're doing. It's like a lot of it's being recorded on an iPad and it's digital. We're looking at phone screens that have notes and things like that of what we're talking about. It's a tool that needs to be grasped, and that's what it needs to gain And I think the con of it is that a lot of individuals look at it to gain confidence within themselves.
Hey, bro, hand me that stress ball.
Yeah, there's one in front of you.
Oh.
The yellow one.
Oh, whatever.
And there's a fidget spinner somewhere over there, too.
There it is right there. Okay. All right, and then what are your cons?
The cons would be the more people are looking for self-worth. People are looking for the number of likes and how many friends they have in their, they have all these different tools on Instagram and all these different apps that turn them into people that they're not, like with Facetune and things like that. It's like they're becoming these people that are not them.
I feel like they're becoming products for these companies. They're like all coming like poster children, like widespread poster children for this future of digital dating and digital lust and digital alter ego. It's like, I don't know. I feel like my experience with social media is always been kind of like love-hate, because in the one hand, I really love social media because of that reason, that I love to connect with people, and I can't always keep, messaging everyone every single day and like seeing what everyone's doing all the time. Like it's really hard, but sometimes it makes it easier to see like what people are up to doing. I don't even know what I'm up to doing.
Up to doing. We're up to doing today.
Yeah. So it's nice to see what people are up to and, see some achievements they're making, or maybe, just things that they're excited about, your friends that are passionate, excited about things. And maybe you make new friends through, mutual likes and things like that. So there's so many great, beautiful things, being up to date on current events, if anything that's serious that needs to be, notified to a community, like everyone can kind of get like alerts on things like that. So I think there's a lot of great ways of communicating through social media, but it's like we need to bring humanity back to it. And when I say that, I mean we need to bring back what skin looks like. We need to bring back what like imperfections look like.
Yeah.
We need to remember that it's okay to look like what you look like in your picture in real life, and vice versa. We need to not be afraid of or get anxiety about what you're sharing is not worthy of your fear of it's not being liked. So now you start to stop liking something that you were excited to share or be passionate about simply because you feel like no one's going to care. And I remember that was back when I like started buying a lot of vinyls, and I got really obsessed with my vinyl collection. And like, I just felt like I didn't always want to share vinyls because I was afraid of people being like, oh, okay, cool. You spend your money on vinyls, like enough. So then I just stopped really posting about it and felt like, okay, it wasn't interesting. Now I need to like post the next gym picture.
Yeah, but I think that's a thought that we should all have, is like, why are we posting the things that we're posting? Like, whose attention are we trying to get? Are we like doing it for ourselves personally, or are we trying to?
Because you're
seek
branding
out-
in a way. You're branding yourself to connect with other people. That's the whole point of social media, is that you're branding yourself essentially with things you like.
But should we do that?
For people, that's what I'm saying. It's unnatural to human expression because it's kind of like a peacock in the wild. I guess you can say. You're like, look at my beautiful feathers, right? It's like, yes, like be my mate or be my friend. It's like social media. We're doing it, but like we're doing it digitally, so it always comes off inauthentic. In real life.
So we need to show our feathers in person.
Not only show our feathers in person, but I feel like we can also show our real feathers, aka our real self, on social media. I think the branding is one thing that's fine, right? You can brand, but to a degree, right? You can say, hey, I'm Kareem and I like vinyl records from so-and-so. And I also really like this color and I really like doing this activity and I really like this food and I really like doing this on my free time. You can say things like that and that's fine. That's great. And you can do it in moderation in that sense too. And you can be vulnerable in your own capacity, but it's another thing when, you have yourself basically trying to Facetune yourself, FaceApp yourself, make yourself look more socially acceptable. If you're changing the way you talk, if you're, trying to sell someone something, it's kind of hard to explain because I don't want to come off like I'm judgmental or critiquing or putting anyone down. I'm just saying that as someone who's basically been from the very beginning through social media to like what it is now, it's just so far removed from just being human. There's no humanity in things anymore. Everything is like a
So I think
byproduct of something.
It's more of a question, like a reality check that we have to give ourselves. Like in each one's reality with social media and how they use it is going to be uniquely, personal to that individual on where's their boundaries and, like
It's not so much the younger. It's not so much. I mean, the elder millennial generation. I kind of grew up with it. Like I'm obviously a millennial. You're a millennial. It's not like really us that I feel like deal with it as much.
I don't
like,
know. The age of grandmas and mothers, love Facebook and they're on it all the time. So it's kind of like
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that like use the like editing apps and like things like that.
Yeah, the Facetune.
Like when
those
I
things,
use-
giving false pretenses.
Yeah, like when I use the Instagram filters, like the story filters, there was a time period when obviously I got my rhinoplasty, and we'll discuss that further in the future in another episode about my insecurity with my broken nose that got revised and needs to get revised again. But
insecurities.
yes, insecurities. So that was something that I was dealing with a lot. And I remember I used Instagram story filters, whatever, to kind of like make my face a little bit more grainy and not so detailed. So you couldn't see that my nose was still very swollen when it was healing. So it was even me who kind of felt like I felt the pressures of having to look a certain way and keep like something going because yes, I posted me getting a surgery. Yes, I posted the splint on. Yes, I posted getting it right off. But I didn't post like the full healing process because I was like not confident. And I was like, wait, what the hell? This is the guy who would like dance like insanely ugly in person and be funny and be silly on social media and make weird stories and be authentic. And I even cried on camera before, like trying to like explain what was going on in the Middle East at some point. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but the point is, it's like I had no problem being that way. But as like the even shift happened for when I got my nose fixed, and like just seeing over the past year and a half, it just seems like social media is so much more serious now. Like you really, if you don't have anything interesting, you're like actually posting into the abyss. Like it's nothing. You mean nothing now. So pros of social media, there's a lot of great things. You can be up to date with your friends, family. You can also share your passions and connect and relate with people. And, there's just a multitude of things that I can go on about how social media is definitely helpful. But in the same way, I can say the same things about cons. And I think if just like everything else in life, if it's not done in moderation or with balance, then it could consume you. And unfortunately, because social media is technically still new in the grand scheme of human behavior.
And it's only going to get worse with, this whole metaverse and AR and VR thing that, all the big tech companies are pushing right now. Like, I can't even imagine what that even means. Like, I know what it means and I can explain it, but it's like, I don't see how that's applicable. And it just... it's kind of scary as we move towards that. Like very cool technologically.
Well, that's
But-
actually a good segue into the next segment, because that's talking about really what social media is gonna, be like in the future. So be right back. All right, and we're back.
Hello, it's me again.
You're the problem,
Nice.
So, okay. All right. So I think a good kind of point that I feel like that maybe people would want to hear, and even you, hopefully, is that, like, is the future of social media going to always remain this relevant? Like, what does it mean? Like, what is social media going to be like in the future?
Well, it's going to drastically change, and I think it's going to change rapidly, even faster than where we've seen it go so far. And it's like all of your big tech companies, with Microsoft and Google and Apple, and even who knows, Tesla's probably doing something. I don't know what companies are involved besides the first three. It's like it's this whole metaverse thing, and this whole premise around what augment reality, AR, or virtual reality, VR, means. And then you see something saying AR, VR combos, and what that kind of is, for those that don't know, just for a brief explanation, is like a virtual reality are all like those Oculus headsets or those Quest headsets that you put on, and you have the little hand things, and you're playing video games, or you're soaring. And it kind of is like a headset that goes on your head. That's like a VR type thing. Like an AR standpoint is you're looking through lenses in the real world, but it's superimposing digital images in front of you, augmented. So like, the big talk right now is like, what is Apple going to do with, AR glasses? And there's people like, kind of like the Tony Stark glasses of the world, that, he's looking through these sunglasses, but it's sitting here telling him what he's looking at. And I think some of that's cool. For example, like with my iPhone, like you could sit there and you bring up the camera app and you could point it at someone and it will tell you how tall the person is. It will recognize the person. It measures the floor and that in augmented reality, and it can sit there and tell you the height. Like you could use your iPhone and measure the width of a wall or how big a picture is. And you can do that today on most of the newer models. And guess what? I use it all the time. I was measuring today for a couch that we were purchasing, and I used augmented reality to measure if the couch is going to fit. Really cool stuff.
This fidget spinner is honestly epic. How did I never know about this before?
You never knew about fidget spinners?
No, this is like literally so fun.
They were like huge in like 8 years ago.
No, I didn't. I never held one of these things before.
Oh yeah, but no, AR and VR is really cool stuff, but I think it's kind of scary. Getting back on topic, it's like, it's, what is it really going to do? And is it for the better or the good? I don't know that answer. And I don't know if anyone knows that answer besides that's the direction it's going,
Yeah, I honestly, like I said, I think because social media has just been out in the grand scheme of human life, it's for such a short amount of time, I definitely think it is still very unnatural to human expression, and we're still trying to navigate through being human or bringing humanity to social media, right? I think we've done it, then we've lost our way, and now we're like in a fast forward, false utopic like stage of social media right now, which is like branding ourselves and trying to be something other than human, which is just a byproduct of these businesses and products. And it's kind of frightening to find even yourself almost shifting your own validity, like self-validity, based off what you post. And I'm a victim of that, and that's the reason why I think I can talk about this with like such an open, honest, vulnerable, like having like this I'm having an open, honest, vulnerable conversation about it, because I think I relate, as I know that I'm a problem to myself, and I know that the dynamic that I currently have with social media is a problem.
It's a giant distraction, for a lot of us. You get involved in like a TikTok,
Rabbit hole, yeah.
And it's just like you swipe.
Well, I don't really use like TikTok. Like I
or even
will get
Instagram
on there. I'm sure I'll like be active on there as much. I mean, I have like one funny TikTok that I think is really funny, but I didn't never.
Well,
like,
Instagram
really
has
share
the same thing with their reels, and you still swiping through the stories. Same concept of you're looking at short little videos, and you just and then.
But is that gonna always be relevant? Like, are we always gonna be doing this? Like, is this kind of like what we're sold to? Is this the narrative of
yeah? Well, like, is this just going to be phased out next year sometime? Or
no,
like,
I don't think that. But I'm saying, do you think that like social media eventually, do you think like being active and being in person, there's going to be new, unique ways to communicate with people in person that it's almost going to feel like social media is like behind us? And when I say that, I'm saying like maybe have like technology that allows you to teleport or technology that allows you to.
I think if I had a superpower, it would be teleportation.
I think I said the same thing too, because I'd rather not be inconvenienced by traffic, because honey, traffic is not it. Like that is the worst. Imagine like feeling like there's only 24 hours in a day and you're at least probably spending 3 hours of your day alone just in traffic, like
Well,
scattered throughout the day.
I don't drive too much.
I drive a lot
Well, I do drive
now.
when you're with you.
Yeah.
When you're with me. Not when you're with you, but
if you're with you, are you always with me?
most days.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, I think ultimately a good way to end this is to really just say that social media is clearly not going anywhere anytime soon. There's like things like Be Real Now, which I think is kind of a little bit like fighting back the unnatural persona or smoke and mirrors that we kind of portray, the facade we portray on social media, which is like post something, like post in front of you and post.
But I saw today that Instagram's releasing new features to combat Be Real. So it's like it's this big competition on,
it's
and
never
that's
ending. Just be you.
And
Just
I think
be
one
yourselves.
more con I think, or the thing that I don't like about social media is that it's all turned into like one big capitalism monetary fight to just make money.
Mhm.
And not so much the influencers in that, not the problem. It's more the corporations just sending advertisements, and it's just ads after ads after ads. You know, and Facebook's trying to figure out how do I make more money after
Some of the ads are
people.
offensive too. I'm like, rude. Like I'm like, what makes you think that I have that insecurity? And now I have that insecurity. How dare you? Like, it's like, no. It's like, yes, hair loss. You have hair loss. I'm like, wait, what? I do?
Yeah, and then like 10,000 more ads show up on your phone, and then all of a sudden I'm getting hair loss ads because you sent me one of them. So now everything I look at is hair loss every other one. So thanks for,
They're like,
messing with my algorithm.
they're like, we know what social media is causing you. We can tell. We looked at your page and see what you can post or see what you post. Yeah, you didn't get that many likes this time. Oh, you're probably losing hair. You probably need some hair.
And I think that's another con there that we just covered right there is just the concern with privacy and with what it is and what it's not. And I think at the end of the day, just to kind of wrap this up, is that we have to look at it, from each of ourselves and say, how much do I want to be involved in it and how much do I not want to be involved in it? And, make those determinations on what's best for yourself. And at the end of the day, we got to bring the discussion back to the people.
Yeah, always bring it back to the people. Back to all the people and all the...
Monsters.
And on that note, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you. This is Travis.
This is Kareem.
And the monster.
Hi, it's the Monster. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, ring the notification bell for whenever we post, whatever it takes to get up to date with your best buds. Come get high with us next time. Bye.